so excited.
It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
Two Mets and a goalie edition of Two Guys and a Goalie presented by GS Construction, setting the industry standard for 50 years with quality, efficiency, and safety, driving their success. GS Construction has a foundation built on teamwork, and now they want you to become part of the team. Visit gsconstruction.ca, click Ready to Work, or visit their page at indeed.ca with the Next Person Up program at GS Constructions. It's not just a job, it is a career. Matthew Iwanyk, Matt Kassian, Joaquin Gage with you here live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in, iHeartRadio, as well as those watching on YouTube. Gage, Cass, how are you guys doing today?
I'm good. I've calmed down. So that's good.
Yeah, you were fired up. You were really, like, you even had to take moments to compose yourself a little bit during postgame last night.
I did, and I tried to be very clear with people that it was just as it can be. It's just sometimes you're emotional, sometimes you can feel it, and it's okay to feel it. It's okay to express that, but then it's what you do with it after and how you respond. And be angry. We'll call it be angry, but do not sin. So it's okay to be angry, but don't do something stupid when you're angry, or say something stupid when you're angry. So I don't think I said anything stupid, but yeah, I was fired up.
You were great on it. It was like awesome hearing your entire thoughts on that. Gage, how are you doing after the loss from last night? And were you at the game yesterday?
Yeah, for a bit. I was there for a bit. Yeah,
what do you mean a bit?
It was. I was with my boy. Yeah, I was with my boy, and we had to make it home for halfway through the third there. So, I'm fine. I'm fine with it. I mean, it is only one game, but of course you kind of. You get all wrapped up in it and all the little things, and it's fun to be a part of. Like I love it because we're so entrenched in the play of both the Stars and the Oilers right now. But let's face it, guys, there's a lot of corrections that need to be made. I think if they want to not only extend this series but get past the Dallas Stars and off to the Stanley Cup final.
Okay, let's start right there. If you guys are Chris Knobloch, what's you saying? There's a bunch of things that need to be corrected. What's number one in the correction list for the Edmonton Oilers going into Game 4 tomorrow? Gager, I'll start with you since you threw that out there.
From a coaching standpoint,
well, just overall, I guess take it overall. Just what needs to be changed then?
I mean, if you look at the whole picture, you can't allow 16 minutes to go by where there's no sort of pushback or stopping the other team. You gotta wrangle this thing back. Where I think we're going to talk about just times to maybe take the time out, how you're going to adjust that way. I think another thing, because this is kind of it's a gentleman's series. There's not a lot of stuff after whistles. There's nothing. It's very pedestrian on the aggressive side. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards a Corey Perry coming, like arrested and maybe a pit bull in a cage, Corey Perry to drag some other people into the fight and maybe get some of the Dallas Stars thinking more about Corey Perry rather than thinking about the rest of the Edmonton Oilers and winning a hockey game.
Cass?
I'm gonna jump right on Penner's Pancakes comment in the nasty chat, which to me is the big thing, and I'll break it down a little bit. But correction number one, Penner's Pancakes says, stop blowing 2-goal leads. Huge issue. The second they've had the lead and there's been a period change, so there's been like a split, a time to reset. Dallas has gone and reset, and Edmonton has not, or they've reset negatively. Dallas is doing, in between periods, if Edmonton has a good period, and they have had some really good periods where they played really well, they're doing the old, if you ever played like old Super Nintendo games where it's like you pop the cartridge and you go and you like blow in the cartridge, then you put it back in and then you turn it on again and then everything works where it wasn't working before. That's what Dallas is doing. Edmonton has not done that. It's like they're like cramming dust and pizza crust and popcorn into the cartridge and then trying to jam it back in after a period where everything was functioning fine and there's no real reason to make any swapping changes, or you shouldn't make any changes. But they just keep doing it to themselves. And so for Knobloch, I'm like, the challenge to me is you're like, okay, well, how do I stop guys from turning it over at the blue line? How do I stop guys from making soft plays at the blue line? How do I get us to stop panicking? And when the second that Dallas has any kind of pressure, and then it's going into like full on emergency mode where we can't do anything offensively and we're struggling defensively, or we're just I don't even want to say it's the bend but not break, but just withering and you just sagging completely defensively, not even like bending a little bit. Oh, they're going to have some ozone time, but just going full on, like holding our breath to see if they can even get the puck out of the zone standpoint. So, I think it's, I'm not freaking out at this point. Maybe I'm still upset. I'm just realizing this, but
it's all coming out just a little bit more. Well, Cass, I'll throw something at you that kind of Gager was mentioning on the morning show earlier today. But was the first period the Edmonton Oilers playing really well, or was it the Dallas Stars just played really bad, or like very, I shouldn't say really bad, but poor hockey? When you look back on it, hindsight 2020.
Gage, you take this because we were talking before you were having a conversation during the game. So I want to hear your thoughts so you can finish those thoughts.
Well, I said it this morning. I just said that Struddy and I were talking and we were having a discussion of, is it the Oilers playing so well or the Dallas Stars? And then it seemed like the table had completely turned in the second period where I don't completely understand it, why that happens, why there can't be a continuation of momentum from one period to the next. It seems like there has been moments in this series, though, that I think that both teams have been at their close to their best. I look to those, in overtime, that was some really good hockey down in Dallas. There was moments, but really, I thought the third period was kind of lackluster from both teams. They were kind of both sitting back a little bit, and I think that's death to the Oilers when they do that. Looking to those, they got to find that balance of being comfortable, being uncomfortable, like during that winning streak where they're up one or down one, but it didn't. There was no panic, like you said, Cass. As soon as there's a push by the Stars, it seems like, oh my gosh, we just got to get this puck out and who cares? Like, but you still have to make a play. Like, you're just giving the puck back to the Stars at that point. They're just countering and coming right back at you. And there's some individuals. Let's face it. There's a lot of individuals. I think that over the course of these last three games, there needs to be a raise in their level of play for sure.
Yeah, Vinny Desharnais is one, and kind of just with everything, it's like a summation of everything you talked about. I just go to that example of one of the Robertson goals where Desharnais has a puck along the wall, tries to stuff it up the wall with someone right there. Yeah. And all he had to do was shoulder check to the middle. There was no pressure on his D partner. It's just a DDD pass. Easy DDD pass. Pressure's clear. You're transitioning up ice, but tries to force it up the wall and turns the puck over, and then at the end it's in the back of your net. And there's just they have gone into tire fire mode defensively. And what's crazy about it, and even Connor McDavid, and you touched on it, Gage, and Connor McDavid was asked the question after the game and talked about it. It's like, I don't know why all of a sudden we can't do this. I don't like you're not trying to, you're not going into it complacent, but it's just like, yeah, you had like 15 minutes where it's just a complete gong show, and like no one could do anything and no one could calm it down. It's just, yeah.
I mean, it's things we've said. We've said things like this multiple times, right? Like the anticipation, the intensity, the jump, that was all there in the first period. When the Dallas Stars did come into the zone, there was shoulder checking, know where guys were. The first pass was always tape to tape coming out. Then, of course, the Stars did pick it up and provided a little bit more pressure. But I mean, again, you mentioned it. Just it went from being on your toes, playing hard, aggressive, to sit looking and surveying and wondering what was going to happen. Like even the Robertson second goal, everyone's there. But everyone's kind of just looking at the puck, hoping that someone does something. And then you got this one of the best goal scorers on the planet right now, circling around like a great white shark, just waiting, and just does that simple little backhand to a good spot. Like this is a little bit worrisome with the emergence of Robertson back into the series, because to be quite frank, I didn't notice him in the first two games. I think he had that one shot off the post, was it? And that's the only time I noticed him. Other than that, but that first goal. Geez, what a cannon! Unbelievable shot.
Well, that's almost like, is that the Rupe Hintz factor in this? That not only is he a great player, but is he unlocking Jason Robertson?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what's going to cause even bigger issues for the Edmonton Oilers, that not only do you have to now deal with Hintz in the lineup, but what he's getting out of Robertson, getting him back to being Robertson again.
But we knew that.
Yeah.
I used the example the other day of it's like, let's look at Zach Hyman as an example. And Robertson, I would say, is a better goal scorer overall than Zach Hyman. Very different. Hyman scores everything dirty around the net, greasy stuff. And Robertson's like, he's a sniper. But if we were going to say, okay, well, Zach Hyman really good by himself, way better when he's got McDavid to play with. And it's the same thing where for a guy that's a trigger man like Robertson, having a centerman in particular that distributes the puck well, that plays well on both ends of the ice, that allows you to play in the offensive zone more often, it's going to benefit you tremendously. And even just that switch mentally where he was struggling to go from, now Rupe's out of the lineup, you can't score, not really getting opportunities. And now it's like, it allows you to reset in some ways with him coming back into the lineup. So, but you knew you were going to have to deal with it at some point for the Edmonton Oilers. You knew you were. And even through that, guys, like you look at it and it's like, okay, they had a good first period, and we weren't talking about Robertson in the first period because the Oilers had a good first period. And the third period, the Oilers were probably the slightly better team in the third period. But it's, what lost them the game is the 15-minute absolute slide where you had a 2-goal lead and it completely fell apart. And then, we noticed Robertson over that period of time because all of a sudden you just let these guys get comfortable and let them feel like they had momentum and let them walk all over you.
That's what the best players do, though, right? Like there's certain times in the game where they raise their level and it's quite noticeable. But it shouldn't be 16 minutes. You gotta right the ship a lot quicker. It was that one shift where I'm pretty sure it was Desharnais and Darnell Nurse got stuck out there, and I think the Dallas Stars almost made like a line change and a half and they were just, they had 2x4s for legs at that point. And they built, like, they didn't score, and it was almost like, oh, phew, they didn't score. But then you just saw line after line, just they kept building momentum. And I thought when Darnell got back out there again, he still hadn't recovered from that marathon shift. So he was completely ineffective and couldn't play physical at all, and at that point, these guys start swimming. Before you know it, that's when the goal happened, right? That's mental, like, that's what they say, those momentum changing shifts. Maybe you don't score, but that consistent offensive zone time that you generate, and then maybe that you get a favorable matchup in that next shift that they're out, they're not fully recovered from that marathon, and that's when the goal was scored. That shift made it possible for the Dallas Stars to take the lead in that game.
On the show today, we also, by the way, still have a qualifying opportunity for the Swing to Win with ESD $100,000 hole-in-one presented by Golf Town at the Ranch Golf and Country Club. We have the VIP table qualifying for the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival on Saturday with Kevin Hart. So stay tuned for that here on Two Guys and a Goalie here on Edmonton Sports Talk. I want to jump into the Parish Jewelers inbox. 780-218-9999. This coming in from Eden for the two of you guys. Afternoon, boys. Question for Cass and Gage. At what point do the leaders on the team hold another leader accountable with respect to Nurse? I'm thinking of the story where Seabrook had a chat with Taze about his lack of scoring during one of their runs. Nurse's play and stats are plain to see. Will the other leaders have to talk to him? I'd like to get you guys to comment on that. And just overall, how do the Oilers go about handling Darnell Nurse here moving forward in terms of getting his play going? Is this a full, is this a Chris Knobloch has to sit down with Darnell Nurse? How would you guys handle Darnell Nurse, whether you're Knobloch or if you're one of the leadership of this team?
I mean, that's a big question, isn't it? Darnell was not very good. Blocked shot aside.
The butt one?
The butt save.
The butt
Jesus,
save.
That was terrible. That's embarrassing.
But
he made the save.
He made the save. So let's give him that. But
it's not Mark Sanchez who's lost the football, It's not the butt fumble. They got the butt save.
Yeah. Goal number 4, Darnell Nurse was absolutely atrocious. Don't know what he was doing the entire shift. Way too far back on the weak side of the ice with no one over there, no threats over there, way too late in recognizing any kind of threat. And then he kind of does that half, I'm going to go down, but I'm not really going down. And then I'm completely out of control and I can't challenge or pressure Robertson at all. And basically lets Robertson half walk to the net. Now, I get it. Stuart Skinner should have saved that puck. Yep. Robertson, also elite goal scorer, tucks it in like an inch wide space. So, but Darnell Nurse doesn't do anything in that. He had another really rough game. And what do you do? I mean, that's a tough question. I would hope guys have talked to him about it already, but it's almost like, what are you gonna say? Or even as a coaching staff, what are you gonna say? Because I think Knobloch's done already at this point. He's communicated with his number one communicator, which is time on ice, in that Darnell Nurse's responsibilities have diminished. And it's like, okay, well, you could, I guess, diminish them further, but he's not a guy that you want to do that with. You need Darnell Nurse to be playing incredibly well. And so far this series, and really for the whole playoffs, he's just not been at a level he needs to be. He hasn't. Is it the other guys, the leadership group? I don't know, and I don't know what that conversation would look like. But he's got to do something. They need him desperately to increase his quality of play.
I think they have the perfect guy to have coffee with or something, and pardon the pun, but it's Paul Coffey, right? I think this is where they just sit down and have a chat. There's you got to use your wealth of experience of a certain member of your team. I think that's kind of what I was thinking about, that he just needs to sit down, have a chat with, and a real respectful chat. You're not berating him, but you're definitely saying, we need you to be a lot better than what you've shown so far. And I think Darnell knows that too, because I mean, look, I just think with Tanev and Lindell, Darnell should be at a level where the Dallas is trying to get away from that matchup because Darnell's so hard to play against. That's the type of defenseman that I think he should be. I do think he's capable of it too. But
he's shown us that, Gager.
Yeah,
he's shown that before.
But he needs to be a beast, man. The lack of physicality, he's 50% Darnell Nurse. Every time it's like 50%. He's almost there. He's kind of there. It's frustrating to see that again, that fourth goal shouldn't have been a goal. You can't allow a goal from below the red line. That is ridiculous. Okay, but what are you doing going down in a half butterfly out in the slot? Trust your teammates, trust in your own abilities. Go and smack Robertson behind the net. Make him go behind, right?
Force him around. All he needed to do, Gager, was have his stick on puck. Stick on puck that direction. And so to break this down further, and I know Smitty the Welder disagrees with me in the nasty chat already on this, but the second he leaves his feet, so he's playing it as a 2-on-1. Now he's already way behind in the 2-on-1 because he was on the wrong side of the ice. He's holding weak side post. There was no one over there. He could have been halfway across the crease. Same height. His height was fine. Should have been 3 or 4 steps one way. He's then late to recognize, and you can see him have an oh crap moment when he takes his first lunging step to try to get over there. Then he's trying to play it as a 2-on-1. He misrecognizes the forward's hand, so he's thinking forward driving to the front of the net is right-handed when he's left-handed, which means the one-timer side, like the backdoor tap it is not you don't worry as the backhand as much. You worry about the guy's forehand. So his stick is in the wrong lane. And then when he gets help coming back to the net, instead of going at Robertson and going stick on puck, transitioning his stick over to that side to force him to go around the net, he leaves his feet and lets Robertson walk to the post. And yes, I get, again, Stuart Skinner should have made that save, but there was zero force by Darnell Nurse, and that is entirely on him. All he had to do was keep his feet to move stick on puck and to take half a step that direction, and Robertson is forced to walk around the net and can't just stuff it. So, yeah, like I get that it's Stuart Skinner's fault, but it's also Darnell Nurse's fault on that play. Significantly, Darnell Nurse's fault on that play for not doing what he should have done.
You gotta limit time and space from the best players, and Robertson's one of those players you can't give extra time to because that he thinks the game at a different level. You said it, Cass. This guy's a sniper. Like he's going, oh, maybe I can try that thing that I do sometimes. Like make him have to do something he doesn't want to do, and by just going down on one knee, that gives too much time to the skilled guys.
I love all caps Cass in the nasty chat. Just back to Smitty the Welder who disagrees with you. Bears eat beats. Like, just well done, Cass. Yes.
Bears eat beats.
Portions of this hour of Two Guys and a Goalie here on the EST Angle brought to you by the 2024 Holinka Gretzky Cup. It's coming to Edmonton this summer. Rogers Place hosting the best U18 hockey players in the world, August 5th to the 10th. 7-game and 14-game ticket packs now available. HolinkaGretzkyCup.ca or Ticketmaster.ca. And a nice little time, get some AC going, watch some hockey when if it's way too hot here in the summer, or if it's smoky, it'll be the perfect place to go. And just watching some great hockey. I think Dusty's calling these games with Craig Button on TSN when it comes this summer. Let's get into Hire It or Fire It, presented by GS Construction. GS Construction is hiring now. Become a part of their great team today by visiting gsconstruction.ca or their page on indeed.ca. For the past 50 years, the foundation of GS Construction has been built on efficiency, quality, and safety. Take your career to the next level. Join the team, GS Construction. I'm gonna. You guys alluded to it a little bit earlier in the show. The Oilers had that stretch. They gave up 3 goals in 3.5 or whatever it was in that second period. Hire it or fire it. Chris Knobloch should have called a timeout when the Stars went up 3-2. I'll start with you, Gage.
Fire it, but hire it at 2-2. That's when that's when he should have made the call.
Yep, I agree 100%. Said it on the post-game show yesterday. Agree again today with you, Gager. Fired at the 3-2. It should have been called at 2-2.
What were you guys seeing in that moment where you would, because I don't know, generally you don't see a lot of coaches go after 2 goals, but what were you guys seeing in the play that felt you guys were going, no, Chris Knobloch should call one here at 2-2?
Absolute freaking tire fire.
Yeah.
Panic, full-blown panic. That's what I was seeing. Full-blown, we're on our heels, we can't recover. And I get you had the TV timeouts.
What's the difference as a mindset as a player between a TV timeout and a coach calling a timeout?
A coach calling a timeout is like a distinct, hey, we need to take just a couple seconds. Breather. And yes, you have the TV timeouts, and you can say the same thing, but I think it just rings different mentally.
Yeah. TV timeouts, there's all the stuff. They're cleaning the ice. There's, guys that maybe haven't had a shift or jumping out there. It's different. Unless everyone come in here and have a chat. But no, it's looked at differently than a normal timeout. Even like I said today, even if the coach doesn't say anything, I think that's even a powerful move. Just saying we need a breather, and then like you said, Cass, an in-game reset, so to speak. Should have been done at 2-2. The Oilers couldn't make a 5-foot pass. They couldn't do a thing. There was no support, no communication. It was the tire fire.
Hire it or fire it. Oilers buy too much into their own hype and their own play too often, and for last night kind of bought into their own play through that first period and came out, and that's part of the reason why they were flat the rest of the game. Cass, I'll start with you.
Fire it. I don't think they bought into their own hype. I don't think they came out thinking that it was just going to be easy. So I got to fire it. I don't think that's the reason. They weren't overconfident. So fire it.
Yeah, fire it. There needs to be a little bit more emphasis on how to play, how to make it uncomfortable for the Stars, but I don't think they were overconfident.
It's the fourth time since the start of the second round. This is from Hernan Salas that the Oilers have blown a 2-0 lead in a game. Games 1 and 4 against Vancouver, 1 and 3 against Dallas. They did win one of those, but they blew a 2-0 leads 4 times since the start of round 2. So just like, how does this team not learn from those mistakes, though, of like you play that period of 20 minutes? Like, how do you not learn at some point to be like, oh, okay, boys, we still have another 40 to go. It's not over. Like, how does a team look so good in one period and then so poor the rest of the game?
That's the question, Matty. I don't. It's mind-boggling that type of effort came through, and yeah, I looked to that one shift. It messed up their whole rhythm, and I don't know. Maybe the ice was tilted a little bit for a little while. I don't know.
I joked about that in the press box a little bit because the Oilers period, it was all the one way. They dominated. Then the Stars came out, it was all the one way. And until the Oilers scored that goal with a few minutes left in the second period, it was just all going the one direction. And the ice is just a little off that tonight.
It is advantageous because you can get almost that free shift change, right? Because your bench is right there. A guy can sub in and get some fresh legs, and you can get that sustained zone time. But I don't know. But like I said, I thought that even with that period and coming out 3-3 was it could have been a turning point for the Oilers, because the shift on the Oilers' third goal was fantastic. With Fogle, huge hit. Brown, you could see the lane to pass that puck. It was perfect. You get it finally, guys going to the net looking for something. Henrique makes an unbelievable play and tip, like to go over Ottinger. That's what I thought. Okay, let's get back to those playoff type goals here. It doesn't always have to be special. Even what drives me nuts too is, and I know it works, and it's so hard to say, Connor, you should try something different. But when he can dance to the middle like that, he's got to start keeping goalies honest. He's got to rip that thing. And Connor McDavid's a good enough hockey player to beat a goalie from that position in the middle of the slot. But goalies are all over him going back to Draisaitl. Like Ottinger was way back in his net at that point and knew that as when Connor goes from right to left, and he's just waiting to go back to Leon for that one-timer play, and goalies are all over it. He's got to keep goalies honest and fire a couple from there and get them stuck, maybe set on to give. I mean, it was a great save, but he was anticipating that pass.
Let's continue with Hire It or Fire It, brought to you by GS Construction. I know there's a lot of Oiler fans that want Darnell Nurse out of the lineup. There's not really a lot of options to go in for Darnell Nurse, though. It's not like they have a plethora of options to sneak in there. But we're trying to figure out on the hangout today, what could you maybe do with Darnell Nurse? Tommy threw out the idea of maybe his ice time goes to Kulak and he plays Brett Kulak type ice minutes. What do you guys make? Hire It or Fire It? Nurse and Kulak should swap time on ice minutes going into Game 4.
Hire it.
Okay, Gager.
I mean, right now you have to hire it. You've got to.
Is that the only way that this works to try to get Nurse? Because there's not much else you could do in terms of his pairings, can you? Like, he's not good with CC, hasn't looked good with Desharnais, and as Tommy pointed out, him and Bouchard haven't looked good in the past either. So it's not even like a pairing situation here that it would work. So is this really the only thing that you can do with Darnell Nurse?
What else are you going to do? I mean, you're not going to scratch him.
Philip Broberg.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Are we sure that the guy that's throwing it out there is Bob Stauffer?
What's he throwing out?
The idea that it's time to put Broberg in the lineup. Is there anything in you that says maybe try Philip Broberg in the lineup? Maybe would you go at 11-7 to get him out there, or is it just this isn't the spot to put Philip Broberg in? It's not going to help this team.
No, I like the speed of Broberg and the first pass ability, but again, this is a different animal. This isn't the American League. No, you can't throw him in at this point. Darnell Nurse has to be better. That's what it comes down to. Like, stop it. Be better. Execute. Be physical. Be harder to play against. Like, when's the last? Like, it doesn't look like it's difficult enough against Darnell, who should be a beast to play against. Uncomfortable going into the corner. Guys shouldn't want to go in there. They'll say, okay, you can go in there, Darnell. I'll see if I can get back from you later. You know, that's the way he has to play, with an edge. It's just not there.
Stuart Skinner, he's been the best Oiler so far this series. Hired or fired, Cass?
No, I want Gage to go first.
Okay, Gager.
Yeah, I'll hire it. I think he's been the best player so far.
Thank you. I'm going to hire it too. And there's so many people that are just going to be infuriated with that. But it's like if Stuart Skinner doesn't play lights out in the second, which he did yesterday, they're down by way more. He's been incredibly solid this series. He has been very, very solid this series. And I would struggle to name one player that's been better than him. Now, you could argue Matthias Ekholm or maybe Bouchard.
Yeah, I was going to throw up Bouchard.
One of those two guys. You could argue one of those guys, and that's fine. You could have that opinion. I would be fine with one of those two being up there as well. But beyond that, he has been. He has been.
Yeah, when it comes to like Skinner and the Vancouver series, the criticism that I would have had of him was he wasn't making the saves when you needed it. Like, you know, Shilov's on the other side. He'd give up goals, but he made the saves when you kind of needed it. Last night, I through most of that game, I was feeling like Skinner was making the saves that bailed the team out. There was Mason Marchment on the breakaway. Stuart Skinner made the save. Like, there was a lot of big saves he made in that game. I think everyone's just going to fixate too much on that fourth goal. But as you've pointed out, Kaz, there's a lot of other issues that, you know, could get blamed for that fourth goal. Skinner's part of it, but there's other players that get blamed for that one. I think last night was one of those games where actually you were getting that goaltending from Skinner where, yeah, he gave up some goals, but for the most part, he was making some really big saves keeping the Oilers in that one. So I don't know what, you know, outside of that fourth goal coming back, I don't know what more you'd want from Stuart Skinner.
Should have been 5-2 after the second period without the play.
Well, and they missed.
Skinner,
right? Well, yeah, actually, on the flip side, you could say it could have been more for the Oilers after the first period, but they missed a couple of empty netter spots, right? They had a couple of opportunities to score more and didn't get those done. Last one for Hired and Fire It. Going to quickly switch off hockey here. Red Bull should be scared. Hire it or fire it.
Scared's I would say
I'm running a pure I'm running a pure Red Bull team. That's what I've switched to. Only Red Bull.
So you're gonna fire it. Gager,
I'm
you had a good weekend in F1 fantasy, if I'm not mistaken.
Good weekend by like 40 points. Everyone got absolutely crushed on the weekend.
I know.
No one had a good weekend.
Yeah, no, it was pretty. And I still had the Hulkenberg, the minus 32 points or whatever it was too. So that sucked. Well, it can.
But you're firing it?
This is where I'm firing it. Yeah, I'm firing that. Concerned maybe, but I'm firing.
I'm excited because even if it's not this year, it looks good for next year. I think that other teams are going to be closer to Red Bull. You put Charles and Lewis in the Ferrari going up against Max and who knows, whoever in the Red Bull. We might have ourselves a competition in 2025. That's all I wanted from this season, was to have more hope going into 25.
this was the year where they exactly what they predicted. Because of the fines from Red Bull and not the allotted wind tunnel time, this is where we'd see a lot of other teams making steps. Where because Red Bull just didn't have enough wind tunnel time to progress the car compared to other teams.
Time now for the qualifying opportunity for Swing to Win with EST. Dusty walking in. Look, there's Dusty.
What's up, boys?
He's jumping in. He's got the
does.
earbuds in,
Jesus.
doing what he needs to get done. $100 hole-in-one contest presented by Golftown. Swing big this Father's Day. Find dad or yourself the perfect gift at Golftown. Whether he's a seasoned pro, just starting out, just likes hacking it like most of us do, Golftown has everything you need to hit the greens in style. Clubs, apparel, accessories, tech, everything. They've got you covered. And if you can't decide, or if you know your dad's very picky and you want him to decide, just go get the Golftown gift card. It's the perfect way to go. They got all the top brands. This Father's Day, give the gift of golf. Visit them in-store or at golftown.com for more details. Well, you have to text into 780-218-9999 to be a qualifier today on Two Guys and a Goalie. Text us Spieth. Spieth, as in Jordan Spieth. Spieth. Spieth to 780-218-9999. You'll go into a draw. We'll name someone in a few minutes who is our qualifier. And then you got to keep your phone on tomorrow morning because the morning boys will call one of you today. We've qualified 4 times today. One of you will get a call tomorrow. You will be contestant number 2 for the $100,000 hole-in-one contest taking place July 3rd at the ranch at the 17th hole at 7 o'clock in the morning. 180 yards out. Gage or Cass, if you're 180 yards out, one swing for $100,000. I'm going to say perfect conditions, sunny, no wind. What club are you pulling out?
On that hole,
Yeah.
7 iron, I think.
You got a little bit of strength behind your 7. Cass?
Oh, you swing a little harder on that one.
170.
180. 180.
80.
180.
Or 180.
180.
Yeah, I'm probably still swinging an 8.
An 8 iron.
Yep, full 8 iron.
Good for you guys. I already pictured it. I told everyone on the Hangout how it would go for me. I'd step up. I would want to hit. I'd probably be a 5 iron, but I will want to try to hit longer on that hole. So we'll take a 4 iron. I'll tee it up. I will take a while, and then it'll go into like just maybe the tee box in front of me. I'll get mad. I'll whip my club, and then I'll go sulk in the corner. That's how my day will go. I really visualize golf really well, so that's how it would go for me.
That's a tough green.
That's a very
good
tough one.
hole.
That is a tough green.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah. So
That's a tough green. Nice hole though. I like that.
yeah,
hole.
it's a beautiful hole.
it's a nice stretch there. Like and then coming in on an 18, it's almost drivable par 4. So
Yep.
the ranch just
If you
overall
crush
it's
it,
great.
For me, if you crush it, yeah, you can get there, but you got to crush it. Got to crush it straight on the drive. But the whole I hate, and in a good way, is I hate 16 right before that. Like that one to me, it's such a tweener where I'm like, if you either got to shorten it up,
Yeah.
or you gotta be perfect with your placement on that drive, and that's just I go for it every single time because I have to. Like it's not in me to play it.
What I
Probably how I
learned,
should.
what I've learned playing safe golf, I've done it. You can still screw up the safe shot. And then when you screw up the safe shot, you're mad because you're going, why didn't I just go for it? I'd rather have screwed it up going for it. So let's just go for it. Like, just
Exactly.
always go for it. It was always 15 for me at the ranch that I struggled with because there was that tree right there on the tee box. Every single time I'd hit the tree, no matter what I'd do to try to play away from it, I'd hit that damn tree. Always hated that tree. I think it's still there. This is Two Guys and a Goalie. Again, text us Spieth to 780-218-9999. Two Guys and a Goalie presented by GS Construction. Overall, what lineup changes do you think should be made going into tomorrow's Game 4? By the way, the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pre- and post-game shows tomorrow right here at Edmonton Sports Talk. Tommy will be at his satellite studios downtown, 5 o'clock for the pregame start. But I'll start with you, Gage. What changes would you make? Do you try to find Corey Perry in the lineup? Does Ryan McLeod get back in? What lineup changes are you looking at?
Again, I think it's Corey Perry that I'm looking at. McLeod just doesn't he doesn't provide enough sandpaper, and I think that's required going forward in the series. Something needs to change. I've been racking my brain who I take out at that point because I do like Carrick with the way he plays physically.
The problem with Carrick, though, is by all report, not skating with the main group. Maybe not like it doesn't sound like there might be something there, and that's one of the reasons why we maybe aren't seeing. Oh no, I'm thinking Stetcher. Never mind, my bad. I'm confusing players there. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Maybe it's Ryan. I probably, if you're gonna hold my feet to the coals there, I think Ryan comes out and Corey Perry goes back in.
So no Ryan McLeod?
No Ryan McLeod.
Okay. Cass?
No, I think it's McLeod that comes in, and I think Carrick comes out, and I know that line's been good, but I think that might be what happens. If not that, then no changes.
Chris Knobloch, he spoke to the media just a few minutes ago, actually, and this is from Daniel Nugent-Bowman of Athletic. Stuart Skinner will get the starter net tomorrow. He's unsure if Ryan McLeod will be back in the lineup. So that's what we know so far. Yeah. There's a chance maybe there is no changes to the team tomorrow. Are you guys okay with that if that's ultimately what happens?
I'm okay with it because this veteran group should be able to go, look, it wasn't good enough. Like I as a coach, I think I'd like to see the response of if I didn't do anything, like, okay, that we lost, but I'm sticking with you guys. That can give you a little bit of confidence, right? And just not, what changes are going to happen? Am I going to still be in the lineup? Maybe rolling it back can actually help in this case.
Let's get to Big Mama's and Papa's Pizzeria, bigger and hotter headlines, which is, again, brought to you by Big Mama and Papa Pizzeria. BMPP, a real pizzeria restaurant, not just a delivery pizza chain, serving authentic Italian cuisine with their made-in-house pizza dough, traditional tomato sauce, and fresh toppings. Each pizza cooked to perfection. A pizza experience you've been waiting for. Visit them 128th Ave, 97th Street. Order today, bmpp.ca, or call 587-746-0550. Some news breaking in the National Hockey League as we're on the show today. The Columbus Blue Jackets officially announced that Don Waddell has signed a multi-year contract to serve as the Columbus Blue Jackets president of hockey operation, general manager, and alternative governor. Right now, the president of hockey operations and alternative governor is John Davidson, and I don't see anything in regards to John Davidson in this press release. So I don't know what's happening with John Davidson there. What do you guys make? Is Don Waddell? What do you guys think of Don Waddell? And what do you think of this move for the Columbus Blue Jackets to bring him in to run their hockey organization?
Something had to be done, right? I mean, if we saw what happened at the beginning of this season and the decisions made, it was, unless Columbus Blue Jackets went on a complete, if they were playing in the conference finals, right, maybe they stick around another year, but no, you could see the writing on the wall. All these guys were done, especially with the way that they performed this year. Just not good enough. It's about time.
Gas?
Yeah. I mean, the Waddell, I think Waddell's going to be a great hire. I mean, if you look at what he has done from a Carolina standpoint, I think he's done well. Now, we all have heard time and time again about some of we'll call it the intricacies of the team owner in Carolina, and where maybe Waddell was just kind of like, okay, this is enough. Like I've had enough of this, and an opportunity to go to a Columbus team that has some good pieces, but just hasn't been able to turn a corner and really do much. So I think ultimately and similar in scope in terms of the hockey market, where it's not a traditional hockey market, I think it's a good move for the Carolina Hurricanes overall. I think Waddell will be
for the Blue Jackets,
a good fit there. To the Blue Jackets, sorry, leaving the Hurricanes, going to the Blue Jackets. I think that's going to be a good fit. To me, it's a good move.
I would also say
Columbus.
It'd be a great spot if you're a GM looking for a job, because the Blue Jackets don't make changes quick. Like you think of how long Kekalainen was the GM there. Scott Housen got a long time. Doug McLean was there prior. This is only the fourth general manager the team has in their history, and they started in the early 2000s. Like, that ownership group will give you time to build something or correct something, and there's no quick moves there. So I think as a GM too, there's not a lot of pressure if you have to turn it around immediately. You're going to be given the latitude to go out about this process and properly build it as you see fit. That's what at least the Blue Jackets ownership looks like.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it's It's nice to have a little bit, you're not going to get let go after a year or so, but yeah, Columbus is an interesting place to play too. It's I think there is it's a little bit maybe a cult following, but they have good fans. That they've even when they started, their building was quite full. Like if they put in a few more wins, that's going to be It was loud. I remember playing there years and years ago. I liked playing there. It was clean city too, very clean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good spot, good city.
Tommy's always talked about how that's a hockey market there. Like there is a good base of hockey. We've got the one listener from Indiana, Taylor from Indiana, who's in that area. She talks about how the team loves it. It's just they've been trashed for basically their entire existence. Like they haven't had a lot to celebrate, so we haven't really been able to get that moment to watch the Blue Jackets fan base kind of blow up and get really excited. They had the one win against the Lightning, and that's kind of it. There hasn't been a lot to celebrate, so it'd be nice to see, hopefully Don Waddell could turn that franchise around, because it'd be nice to see what the Columbus hockey market could be. This note coming from Jason Greger, Troy Stetcher, he's going to have ankle surgery soon, so that's why he hasn't been skating. So for those that are especially thrown out there that he needs to get into the defensive lineup, that's not going to happen because he's going to be having ankle surgery. Eastern Conference Finals, Game 4 tonight. The Rangers lead that series 2-1. Overall, we've been treated to a great conference finals in the National Hockey League. Do you guys think that the Panthers could tie this one up 1-1, or are you thinking the Rangers are going to be able to go back home looking to close it out?
I have a tough time thinking this is going to be a short series. And I really, from what I've seen, I felt that the Panthers have controlled most of the play. It's just Rangers have taken advantage of their opportunities. But no, I don't think this is ending anytime. If I'm putting any money down, my money's on the Panthers tonight.
I think this one's going 7. I think it's going 7. Panthers have been, I would say, more consistent. New York has had spurts where they've been better, but then you've seen them kind of fall off, and the Panthers press. I think the series is going 7, but I think Panthers win, and it's a 3-game series.
Why are the Rangers so disrespected? Not saying you guys just disrespect them right now or anything, but like coming into this, like every round, they've basically, the last 2 rounds at least, they haven't been the favorites. Why do you think people have been overlooking the Rangers throughout the playoffs this year?
I haven't been at all. I think, if I recall correctly, and I look back to my brackets, I had Florida, New York.
But why would others be looking at the Rangers?
I don't know. I don't know.
They don't think.
No idea.
I think because they have quiet superstars.
Yeah.
Like Panarin's a superstar, right? But
yep.
Zibanejad's a superstar. Kreider, I don't care, man. Kreider is a faster, heavier Zach Hyman, kind of, right? Like he scored 50 goals two years ago. Like that's a scary, scary line. Fox is a consistent Norris candidate, and they've got one of the best goalies on the planet. So I don't know the reason, but maybe it's just not that huge name that you have. You could kind of say the same thing for Florida, but I mean, they got Tkachuk. I think he's maybe even more well known than Barkov is at this point. Barkov's been there for centuries.
That was Big Mama's and Papa's Pizzeria, bigger and hotter headlines. 2 Matts and a goalie, Matthew Iwanyk, Matt Kassian, Joaquin Gage with you here on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in, iHeartRadio, as well as those watching on YouTube. It's been as I said, great conference finals here in the NHL. Can't say the same for the NBA. We might see Dallas having both an NBA and an NHL appearance from their 2 teams, but the Oilers are going to try to stop that one. When we look to tomorrow, because we'll wrap up momentarily here with you guys, then I'll qualify someone for the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, which will take place July 12th through the 14th at Kingsman Park. Do you guys want to make some sort of prediction for tomorrow's game between the Oilers and the Stars? Can the Oilers even this one up 2-2? Well, not to say can, because obviously they can. Do you think the Oilers will even this up at 2-2 tomorrow? Who wants to go first?
I have to say they will. There's too many lackluster performances to sit on and stew about, to not want to change the outcome. I think we're going to see a different, possibly the first full 60-minute game put together from the Oilers. But saying that too, I think you're going to see the best Dallas Stars team that we've seen as well. Like this is a put your foot on the neck of the snake moment.
Well, there's blood in the water.
Stars. Yeah, this is a huge opportunity, but I do think that the Oilers will prevail in the next game.
I think they turn it into a 3-game series here. I think they're better. I think we maybe see them clean up some of the hiccups, and I think we see a little bit more pushback from the Oilers when Dallas pushes. So I think they improve. I think they're better. I think they win the next game, and it becomes a best of 3.
Okay, quick one final one for you guys. What's wrong with the Oilers' power play? How did they correct this?
Quit sucking. Shoot the puck.
Simplify.
Is that just really what it comes down to? Because it's just always looking for that pass to Leon. Is it just stuck in their ways?
It doesn't have to be pretty. Yeah, it's funny because when it's going well, it seems like it's quite simple. You know, they're taking shots. You can't pass up the opportunity. And I do believe there needs to be a stronger net front presence in front of Ottinger, making life a little bit more difficult. Because when you do it, then you just have to start worrying about rebounds and stuff. But simplify, and then once they get running around, that's when the skill really takes over. That's when those seam passes start to open up, the chaos ensues, and it opens up that one-timer back to Leon or Bush coming down and letting her rip.
Yeah, just get a few more Bush bombs going. Does that help things? Just feed
him
a little bit.
Bombs, a few more McDavid shots. Yeah.
Gents.
Just don't suck.
Just don't suck. Boys, good having a show with you again today. I think I know I'm in on Thursday with you guys, as well as Dusty's flying off to Vancouver for the CFL. But enjoy the rest of your day. Cass, we'll catch up with you. Well, Tommy will on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your guys' Tuesday.
Later, Mats.
And now it's time to qualify someone for the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, which will take place July 12th through the 14th. We do have somebody qualified for the hole-in-one contest. Reached out to them. They haven't given me their name just yet, so if I've texted you, please let me get your name so I can put you in the draw for tomorrow. But the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival taking place July 12th through the 14th. Kingsman. We've got Friday, Andrew Schultz, Shane Gillis. Saturday, it's Kevin Hart. Sunday, Bert Kreischer and Whitney Cummings. Friday, completely sold out. We are qualifying something for that VIP table for 4 to the Saturday show with Kevin Hart. The VIP table, it features like a QR code, and you and your 3 friends or whoever you bring with you, you just scan it, you order your drinks and your food right to your table. It's perfect. Alley Cat, the official beer sponsor of the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival at Kingsman. So a great outdoor setting, some great laughs going to be had, great beer to be drank in terms of the 6 o'clock or a lager. If you want to get into the VIP table for 4 to Kevin Hart, text us 6 o'clocker. Text us 6 o'clocker to 780-218-9999, and you will go into a draw for that VIP table to 4 to Kevin Hart, which we'll give away in a couple weeks. So we'll qualify the rest of this week and the next 2 weeks. And then Friday, I think it's June 14th on the morning show, we'll announce who's the winner of that VIP table for 4 to Kevin Hart. You could still get your tickets to the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival for this Saturday to Kevin Hart or the Sunday to Bert Kreischer and Whitney Cummings at greatoutdoorscomedyfestival.com. Limited tickets available for those 2 days. Also, it's early bird pricing still for those 2 days as of June 1st. So the end of this week, those ticket prices will go up. So if you're looking to guarantee your tickets and get out to the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, get them now at greatoutdoorscomedyfestival.com. One, before they run out, because there's a limited number left, but also before those prices go up. That will wrap up this edition of Two Mats and a Goalie of Two Guys and a Goalie, which is presented by GS Construction. Coming up next, it is a replay of the Nielsen Show on our audio stream on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, as well as TuneIn and iHeartRadio. And then we're back with live programming tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. Dusty, Lieutenant Eric, YTT. They'll be on to get you set, as we'll have you fully set for Game 4 right here at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, which will also include the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pre- and post-game shows. Tom Gazzola live from his satellite studio downtown, the pregame show getting going tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Thanks for tuning in to our coverage today. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and we'll chat with you tomorrow. Bye now.